All right. Well, I do have the website. I don't have anything on the website yet, but we do have the domain. So
Congratulations.
fritterhollow.com.
Yeah, seriously, congratulations, because the ability nowadays to find an actual open .com address.
Yeah.
Man, that's a bit of a minor lottery win.
Yeah, well, thank you to my high school nickname for making that one a little bit obscure. So I guess hello at fritterhollow.com is probably the way for people to get hold of us now.
Okay.
So I'll try to say that at the beginning of these. Other than that, I haven't gotten a lot done because I went back to work. I spent the last 3 days just trying to keep up with my gym routine and work and billing for the business and that.
Yeah, you got a lot going, man. You got
I have a lot going. Like
Yeah.
I right now I'm working. Plus I got all the bookkeeping for our business. I've got Krista to run around somewhat. I'm in guitar lessons. I'm still trying to write my songs. I'm trying to do some vibe coding. I'm writing my own podcast independent of this one and participating in this one. Plus I've got commitments to my daughter from.
So that's 2 podcasts for anyone who missed that.
Right. Yeah, and commitments like normal commitments to my daughter and family and stuff. So. It's a lot going on, but they're good problems to have. I've got a lot of blessings too, and I don't tend to talk about those as much because nice to have for me, but not exciting fodder for others. So,
well, I mean, the biggest thing that I've known for you, and I've known you, how many years now has it been?
We met in 2022.
22, okay, so like 4 years.
4 years now, yeah.
And the one thing that I've noticed about you, and it's increasing every year, is you're just like a pretty no-nonsense, just get it done kind of guy, right? And as we were talking, in the last episode about, this podcast even, it's just like, let's just do it. Like, let's just get it done. And it's like, that's such an admirable trait in today's day and age, because I think the vast majority of people they're just stuck. They're just overcome by inertia. They can't move. Yeah. Even if they know that they need to, they still can't. Yeah. And I'm infinitely curious about that syndrome, that condition. Human nature right now, but it's I don't know, and maybe some of it is just that we just lack the rote motion that we used to have. Like everybody talks about, oh, I'm tired of the 9 to 5, and it's like, yeah, but that was the glue that kept your world together.
Yeah.
And you went bowling, or you went out with your buddies, or you went played pickleball, after work. Well, you didn't play pickleball 20 years ago. There wasn't anything such thing, but you went out and did things as the counterbalance to your 9 to 5.
Yeah. And
you had money to be able to do it too. You didn't have to go into big debt to be able to do that. And that's missing now. And anybody anybody now who works from home, okay, maybe they're getting a paycheck, but they're just not getting that disciplinary forward motion that they used to, Yeah. And I think we may pay a price for that.
And we've seen the disappearance, really, for the most part, of like third places.
Yeah.
And that's too bad. And that's kind of like a little bit what I'm trying to do with this, I think. A little bit.
I think so.
At least adjacent to it, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it's inspired by. I mean, it's about building community and having that third space. But, for the most part, Starbucks hijacked the third space.
Yeah.
They use that as in their marketing materials, and all of a sudden now, you're supposed to go and have a $9 coffee at Starbucks, in order to enjoy the third space. And it was like, that's not exactly what we had in mind. I mean, a speakeasy or something that you could just drop in and hang out at. You know what I mean? That's what we're missing right now.
Yeah.
You look at the vast network of community centers and community leagues, in this or any other city. And it's just another bureaucratic, infrastructure.
Yeah.
With so many rules and regulations, there's no time for people to just come in and hang out and do nothing.
I know.
So that's kind of a little bit maybe, but yeah, you're right. We're definitely missing that, and that's showing up. Some of the psychologists are talking about that now, and even churches were an important part of a lot of that function for people.
Like,
they were.
And I'm not talking about religion at all here. I'm talking about community stuff. Like they would have lunches. They would have, coffee hours after the service. They would do that sort of thing. And it was like you would meet people. It was a way to meet people that you didn't work with and weren't in your immediate family in an environment that wasn't focused on selling you stuff, whether it was booze or food right?
Well, I would argue it was it was centered around selling you something, and that was the message.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But aside from that, yeah, you're right. I mean, you were still. I mean, you could still be lightened by 20 or 30 or $50, whatever it happened to be at the end of it. But that's a whole other discussion, I think. But I mean, the thing is though, is that there were a lot of churches, in the 90s, some of them in the 80s, but in the 90s, in the 2000s, where they started opening their doors to other non-church entities, groups. You know what I mean? Like if you were just a local knitting club, you could go downstairs in the church basement and use one of the rooms or whatever, to spread out all the wool and knitting needles and sit there and knit for, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then everybody would clean up and go, and then somebody would come and lock the doors, but then but there was no rent. Like you could just go and, if you were an approved entity, you could meet every Tuesday nights for knitting.
To the best of my awareness, I'm not an expert on this, but I know some stuff about it. I'm somewhat informed about this kind of thing. And most of that started with like groups like AA.
Yeah.
Originally, like the Alcoholics Anonymous groups, that kind of stuff, churches were given space to.
Yeah.
Which was good of them. And then they kind of expanded, like you said, to other clubs. Now they tend to charge. It's almost like a bit of a fundraiser for them, letting people use their space.
Yeah.
And they tend to make it less for the support groups, but there's a charge.
For sure, and I mean, and that's the world that we live in now, right? Like we don't need to delve too much into economics, but I mean, the devaluation of the dollar has created the illusion of inflation, but that's actually just that's to confuse the matter. The fact of the matter is that the dollar is worth less today than it was 20 years ago or 100 years ago. Or whatever, whenever, I mean, when I guess in 71 when we came off the gold standard, whatever that was at that time, you can look at what the dollar's purchasing power, and that's been diminishing precipitously ever since.
Yeah.
And so now you can't afford to run a church
without
charging that rent, because that's valuable real estate now.
And they're dealing with declining pew numbers too.
Yeah, for sure. In some cases, and others not. But
yeah, some of the evangelical churches are doing well.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you had the pews were all full, and everybody gave their $5 or $10 or $20 to the basket, that would always be enough that you could pay the taxes every year and keep the upkeep.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I mean, oh my God! And then you see these churches that people build now, and they're going so heavily into debt.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars to build these sanctuaries. And I mean, how are you going to pay for all that stuff? And now it's on the people now. It's on it's incumbent on the congregations to kick in that shortfall.
Yeah.
So I mean so again, our modern economy has gutted out any of those kinds of places. The other thing I find interesting too is that there's a class of building, like these would be old, not warehouses, but they would be like old, like shops. You know what I mean? These buildings, like they would be like the industrial strip malls. You've got them. They've all got an address. A numbered address, and you go in the door, and then you look, and it's like 2 stories. 2,000 square feet.
Yeah.
It's a box basically with a natural gas, forced air heater up in the roof. And you would be able to convert these things into almost anything. And you look at places off of White and White Ave and all that kind of stuff, and you look at all the businesses that are in there that can afford to offer services, whether it's like a gym, whether it's like an art store or whatever. They can offer these services. They can serve the community for a reasonable amount of money. But as these move out now, and the new regulations and codes take over, less and less of them are allowed to be in those kinds of places because they're not energy efficient.
Yeah.
They're not really clean. They're not that safe if you think about it. But now we're losing a whole class of business now that won't be able to afford a brand new, energy efficient, net zero warehouse space at $65 a square foot. Like, it's not happening.
Yeah, it's frustrating. And I'm like, too, with our business, like, just in case anybody ever does happen to listen to this, my girlfriend and I own a business that basically as a social companionship service for severely disabled people. So helping them everything from going out to eat with family, to medical appointments, to shopping trips, to trips to the bowling lane for recreational stuff, like all sorts of things we do in that lane. And I see lots of opportunity to help people and provide a valuable service that they would be willing to pay for, but what they can pay is capped, right? And I'm not saying we should have a lower minimum wage. I don't think that at all. But there's all of these services that would be helpful that it's just not affordable. Like they can't afford, they would be willing to pay for it, but they can't afford to pay what you would need to pay in order to pay someone even minimum wage to do the job while observing all of the labor laws and pay all of the taxes and all of the insurance and all of the registration and everything you have to pay to run a business. Like it's to the point, like how do you tell somebody that can't go out into the community on their own that they have to pay more than $30 an hour to get somebody to help them? And even at $30 an hour, it's a stretch. If you've got to pay somebody $15 and then you've got to pay some of their CPP on top of that, you've got to pay any taxes on extra money you make, you've got to pay for the insurance, which is expensive to cover the person that's going. You have registration costs, you have training costs, and then on top of all of that, there is labor laws. If I hire an employee and say, go meet this person at this care home to take them out to see a movie, and then that employee gets there, and the person that was supposed to go out that day all of a sudden is sick or has hurt themselves or is even restricted to their rooms because they might have COVID, which happens more often than you would think. If any of that stuff happens, the outing can't happen. I have to pay that employee 3 hours. The law says it. And I can't bill. They're not going to pay it. They can barely afford the bill as is, but they're going to pay 3-hour charge because they were isolated for a possible COVID exposure. So I'm in this situation where I'm out the CPP, I'm out the hourly wage for 3 hours, I'm out the insurance costs that had to be paid anyway, and it just becomes unsustainable because that's more I have to make down the line just to cover that. So there's all these opportunities that do exist. They just don't make sense financially. And I find that frustrating because I don't even know does that make sense?
100%. Total sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the world we're living in right now. It's a bureaucratic industrial complex.
Yeah.
And we're drowning in it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like anything that you think of.
The insurance is the worst. The insurance makes me the crabbiest.
Yep.
Because I know we've never had to use it. We have to pay for it every year. We've never had to use it. And I know if we did have to use it, they would fight me tooth and nail.
Well, they would fight you tooth and nail, and then they would jack up your premiums after that. So they're gonna punish you both ways. Yeah. So I mean, it's one of those things where you have to scratch your head and say why are we doing this? You have to really believe in what you're doing, I think now. But is there an alternative? At the moment, there isn't.
Yeah.
At the moment, there isn't. Yeah. If you're going to fly under the radar, or if you're going to skirt the requirements, FAFO.
Which means
fuck around, find out.
Fuck around, find out. Yeah. So I find it just so frustrating and kind of sad. I think a lot of people, I was one of them, grew up kind of being told, in this country you can hang your own shingle and start your own business and make your own way. Good fucking luck.
You still can.
You can, but every deck is stacked against you. Yeah,
I mean, but now what it means is that you've got way less opportunity for niche markets. I think we've come and gone from the niche market opportunity era. I think if you wanted to, again, the business that you described, I would consider extremely niche.
It is, yeah.
And there was a time when you could make that work. It would be a bona fide, viable business. Maybe even look at franchising it. But nowadays, you have to be so smart. You have to be so selective in the service areas that you operate in.
Yeah.
Because you've got to make sure that you can do the job, for one thing. You've got to make sure your supply chain isn't going to get messed up. And you've got to make sure that your clients are going to be able to pay you.
Yeah.
When you think about now a tradesperson, they go around with an $80,000 pickup truck, $30,000 worth of tools. They got to charge $100 an hour for doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
So if they come and work for me for 8 hours, that's $800 plus tax.
Yeah.
And then it's okay, well, I got to have $1,000 that I can kick over for having somebody come and do some regular manual labor, maybe a bit of handy person stuff. wow.
It starts to not make sense.
It starts to not make sense. But then all of a sudden you realize, this person, whoever's got the truck, whoever's hung the shingle, is has to worry about the clientele that they have. Are they going to pay me?
Yeah.
Oh well, I charge. You have to give me a deposit. Oh well, screw that. I'm not giving you a deposit before you do the work. You're not going to show up.
Yeah. I know there's no trust.
Oh boy.
Yeah. The world. I don't know things, but we were getting our blinds cleaned the other week. We found somebody, a local business, who was going to come over, take all the blinds down, clean them, bring them back, hang them up. We had the appointment set for several weeks. They just didn't show. They didn't respond to the emails. They didn't answer our phone calls. And we didn't do any price haggling, nothing like that. And this isn't the first example of this happening. So on top of all the problems small business has, their work ethic is shit at the same time. It's so crazy.
Yeah, and this is systemic now. This isn't a few one-offs. This is pretty much de rigueur now, right?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. I mean, even some of the more established service businesses out there are struggling because they can't find people who will want to work.
Yeah.
They're always, everybody's looking for good people. It's like, wow, okay, where are we now?
Yeah.
Anyway, what I wanted to do before we get too far off into the weeds with this is get back to last week's podcast, or the last episode, not necessarily last week, but I wanted to talk a bit about that, but I also wanted to explore specifically one of the ideas a little bit further, and also say, while I was quite skeptical at first, after 2 or 3 listens to it, I really liked it.
You listened to it 2 or 3 times?
I did, yeah. Well, I mean, part of that is in the editing process.
Of course, right.
When you're trying to put it all together. Yeah. But I really, really liked it, and I thought, okay, well, maybe there is something here. Specifically, though, the thing I wanted to talk further about was the mini shows. Yeah. So again,
I was going to segue into that with the church talk, by the way, because we might be renting church spaces for some of that stuff at some point.
Okay.
There was a connection. I just didn't make it. It's early and my brain's fried.
Okay. But the space that we're in right now, which people might not realize because we filter it out, there's an HVAC system that's constantly running. It never shuts off. Yeah. There is a little bit of acoustic treatment, but not a lot. But it's a space that's large enough that you could have someone perform something and have a half a dozen people watching it. And you could film it and you could record it. Yeah. And that really got me thinking, because it's a place to start that's like zero budget.
Right.
And we can do it. And I think
it's not free, but it's money we're paying already anyway.
Correct. Yeah. It's correct. It's subsidized.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll say it that way. It's subsidized. And I thought about that, and I thought, it's like, this isn't to make it a thing, but a thing to get started. Yeah, why not?
Right. 100%.
And so
we're on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. And I began to think about and then I thought, hey, there's another space in this building. What if we rented that for 2 months? Mm-hmm. Right? Here's the amount of money it's going to cost. Let's see, maybe we do charge a small admission for it. I don't know. Maybe we subsidize it ourselves. I don't know. But we could set up a little stage, some lights, some equipment, and then some chairs, and then boom, there we are. We can have 6 performances. I'll just say arbitrarily.
You're
6.
right. You're right. If we strung together some performances over a 4-week span, you're right. We can rent.
Yeah, they could 2 or 3 a week. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, because they rent these places out in 4-week blocks. Mm-hmm. And there's no lease, no nothing. So we could literally take a 4-week block.
Yeah.
I'd have to talk I wonder,
Yeah.
Because we're already an established renter here, I wonder if they would give us, if the spot's vacant, why wouldn't they give it to us for just a week?
Well, here's my thought, though. Even if it was 4 weeks, that's a good amount of time. You would obviously line everything up in advance, and then you would, make sure that, everybody knew, okay, here's the speaker, here's the musician, here's whatever, here's the clown, whatever, magician, whatever is going to come and do their thing. And then you have those dates lined up, and then it's just a matter of coordinating all of that. But then you come in and you've got your set up already. You do that once. Mm-hmm. You don't have to tear it down. And then boom, you record your episodes, and then you go away and produce them. And then you tear everything down, move out, And that's it. And so, if it's $500 or whatever it was for the 4 weeks, that was the cost of renting that space, and you've used it, very well. Do other things in the meantime. Hey, somebody wants to shoot a video, somebody wants to whatever. You kind of want to maximize the hours you spend in it. But regardless, you've got those first performances that can now be turned into a proof of performance, a proof of concept, and shown to others.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was what I kind of had going through my head while I was listening to the episode.
Yeah, I think you're onto something. I think we need to literally do the first couple in this room just to spend no fucking money and get our concept down.
Yep.
But yeah.
So if that's the case, then if the first couple are going to be in this room, then I think we would need to rearrange some of the stuff in here so that you could get a clean shot of someone, because the last thing you want to do is have somebody standing here with a whole bunch of equipment.
It might be the last thing we want to do, but it's still something we could do.
I don't understand what you mean by that.
Well, just because it's the last thing we want to do doesn't mean that we can't do it. If there's a bunch of clutter in the background in some of the early videos, so be it.
Yeah.
I mean, and another thing too.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't agree with it, but I don't disagree with it.
We could go to one of the larger library studios too, if it's somebody that doesn't need a full audience and just us.
It's true, but there's a setup and a teardown involved with each
right,
thing. Whereas I was trying to hope to avoid that.
Yeah, no, you're right. Well, the first question then is if we focus on just the first couple that we're going to do here, who should we be looking for?
In terms of
people to bring
talent
in
or
talent.
Or guests.
Talent's a good word. Guest talent. Yeah. I spent some time. I've been busy the past 3 days, like I've already said, but I've spent some time. Kijiji's kind of dead, but I have been scrolling on in the community section a little bit, looking for people that are trying to do things.
R.I.P. Kijiji. Yeah, it was a great tool for me for many years.
It was, yeah. and I understand why Facebook Marketplace has kind of taken over most of that, in my opinion, and I can understand why that's happened, but they don't have much of a community. It's more of a buy-sell thing. On Facebook, or some musicians actually use it to a great extent, so it is good for community, in some ways. But I'm actually thinking I might join that Meetup app and see that might be another opportunity to find people that are organizing things and bring them in. Have you done any of that? Looking at Meetup?
Well, we kind of dabbled with that with a different concept, a different project. We ended up partnering with ATB Entrepreneurial Center. Oh. And it was a once a month thing. Yeah. And I would say it was I wouldn't call it moderately successful. It wasn't a bust. There's no question that there was something there. But we had brought in some pretty substantial speakers, filmed it all, recorded it all. Right. And we had some people show up. Just hey, I want to listen to this person speak. Yeah. I'd say probably anywhere from 8 to a dozen people.
Well, I wasn't, just for clarity, I wasn't talking about us establishing a group that's on Meetup.
No, that's right, yeah.
But I'm talking about finding groups that are meeting, reaching out to their administrators, to their coordinators.
Yeah.
Saying, would you like to come talk to us?
Yeah. Talk to us about their Meetup, or talk to us about their
whatever their area of interest is.
Oh, I see, yeah. Yeah, I like the idea that you kind of poked around at in the last episode and said, find somebody that's super, super duper into space aliens, all the UAP or the UFO, whatever you want to call it, action that's happening now in the media, and just you could have somebody come here and talk about Smurfs. I don't think the concept or the topic matters. Yeah. I think what matters is that we run through the exercise of doing this.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, again.
I agree, because I think we're not going to get to where we're not going to really, really find our thing until we do this for a few months. It's going to
Yeah, for sure.
So that's the process I want to get rolling. But I guess where my mindset was with the Meetup group, I was thinking back 20 years ago to when they had the LUGs, the Linux user groups.
Yeah.
And finding, it doesn't have to be about Linux. It doesn't even have to be about tech. Like you say, it could be aliens or Smurfs or whatever.
Yeah.
But find those groups that are meeting around these really niche topics and talk to the organizer and see if the organizer will come in and talk to us and explain why what they're into matters or why it's important or why it's interesting.
Yeah, that would be a different kind of talk. That would almost be a promotional talk rather than an informational one. Like I think if somebody was
a presentation is better.
Presentation, yeah.
But we might not be able to find that all the time. And I just kind of want to start getting practice at this. I just want to get going, talking to people, filming it, making videos, see where it points, see what ideas it generates, right? Like it's one of the, like from my perspective, we have a very loosey-goosey idea here. And we need, like, our concept here is very loose and very wide right now. Yeah. And we need to start doing things and kicking at it to narrow that down and get our focus. Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. So, yeah. I mean, that's, there's, Yep.
All right, well, I'm going to join that meetup app. I'm going to start spending more time on Facebook looking for odd Facebook and Reddit. Facebook, Reddit, the meetup group, and Kijiji. Those are going to be my 4 main things that I focus in for the next week or so. And I'm just going to type in the search bar things like Edmonton, YEG. Yep. Find out what sort of people are organizing shit around here.
I mean, if you want to sort of tie 2 concepts or more together, then if you were to find somebody who was trying to organize something, then all of a sudden there seems to be a bit of a point or a purpose to it. Whereas if it's just to record, somebody talking about aliens, and they're way out there, that's really no use to anybody other than us because we wanted to, flex the machinery.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's to say, hey, what are you trying to build here? Come talk to us about it. Let's get this, recorded. Maybe you can use it, maybe not. If you can spare the evening. Yeah. Whatever. I mean, I kind of like that actually, because then it's got, it's got a bit of an agenda.
And I'm all down with performers from time to time too. Like,
sure,
you're more connected in that realm than I am. So if you
think,
they'd still take your calls.
Yeah, I probably would, but it's over time, it's. I like that saying. It's if you want to know how like people who can't leave their work, it's like, oh, I could never quit. What would they do without me? Mm-hmm. It's like, well, put your hand into a bucket of water. And then take your hand out of that bucket of water. As fast as that hole fills up where your hand was, with water, that's how long you'll be missed.
Yeah. It's kind of true. Yeah. So I mean, what came after you might not have been as good, but they'll fill it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's my mission for this week then. I'm going to start talking to people.
Okay, I like it. And, or at least scouring the internets for people.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to reach out, that's great. But again, you got a lot on the go right now. So I would say keep pushing it forward. I say, but don't push too hard.
No.
Yeah.
No, I won't.
Like we don't need to have someone in here for next week kind of thing. Like it's not like that.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't care. Like, I don't want to stand still ever. But if this takes us, if we basically are talking like this for 2 months before we get things moving, as long as I feel like I am moving it forward, I am trying, then I'm in.
I think so. But I think also, I mean, you've got the domain now set up. You've got an email address. If there could be a website and maybe just a little bit of a mission statement thing so that you could point to it and say, here's what we're about, right? Yeah. Because, I mean, when people walk in here, it's like, it's kind of a confusing room because is it a studio? Is it a storage room? Is it a set? Like, is it a TV set? Like, what are you doing in here? Like, it kind of seems weird. You know what I mean? And but if there's kind of this little manifesto, online about what the intent is.
That's good.
I think then you could point to them and say, yeah, we're doing a grassroots thing. We're trying to spend no money at the beginning and see if we can grow this out of nothing. I think people would look at that and say, hey, that's pretty cool. As opposed to, I don't know what that, like, are they going to be there tomorrow? Like, I don't even know, They said, come next week. I don't know if they'll be in there.
Okay, let's talk about this then. Let's talk, I don't know what the term is, technical. Just the technical things that we need to do in the near future to get this rolling.
Yeah.
So here's what I was thinking, and then I'm going to incorporate into what you just said because I think it's good. So I've got the domain.
Yeah.
You're starting to edit these shows together now. You've done one. This will be the second.
Yeah.
Krista's working on the artwork for this podcast, that should be done hopefully in the next 24 hours or so. Because you need that. You can't upload a podcast without the artwork. It is the one required thing.
Yeah.
So the next couple of days, I'm going to get that first episode uploaded as soon as the artwork is done. I'm going to use a podcast hosting service called Transistor.
Yep.
Transistor will give us our own page.
Yep.
Right, their own page for the show.
Okay.
For the short term, I'm going to forward the web domain either to our Transistor page or our YouTube page, one of the two. I'm not sure yet, because I'm going to post the podcast in both places.
Okay.
YouTube and Transistor.
Okay.
For the week after that, I'm going to spend the time trying to send the feed to all the other podcast distributors, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all the podcast places.
Okay.
That'll just take a short term, and then eventually they'll start populating with the RSS feed. You don't have to worry about it anymore. So then all I ever have to do is post a Transistor and YouTube.
Yep.
Then once all of that's done, and we got a couple episodes up, we should write down what we want our website to be. We'll take a couple pictures of us, a couple pictures of the place, the mission statement, like you said, very simple shit. Then let's do a video episode of this show where we fucking vibe code the basic website that's going to include all the links in the mission statement, because you're right. If I'm reaching out to people and I can say, here's our website, you're right, that's huge. Because I noticed too, so just a little bit of back context for anybody, whoever happens to listen. I posted an ad on Kijiji a while back looking for people to be part of this new wave recording project I wanted to do. I didn't get any response that was what I was looking for, but I did get people reaching out to me saying, hi, this is my name, this is what I do, I'm just interested in talking to you. I did get some of that. And one guy in particular who we were supposed to meet today, who backed out on us because people are flaky. The reason I got as far with him as I did is because of your website. What he was talking about made me think more of you. I'm like, you're a better fit to be talking to Dan than you are to me. So here's this guy I know, here's his website. And sending your website, I think, is what got me talking to him for 2 weeks. It's what convinced him to give me some time. So you're right. Having a website we could point to, saying this is Fertile Hollow, this is what we're trying to do, it's necessary.
I think so, and I wouldn't, because again, you only get one first impression. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't put photos up yet. I would just use text. Just keep it all text.
I would put photos of us at least.
We could do headshots. That would be fine.
Yeah.
But I just think that it's at this stage of the game, it's just leave it to be a surprise. I think I wouldn't want to have anybody say, nah, that's not for me, based on a photo. People can get pretty judgy.
That could happen. But for every time that happens, I think somebody would say no because they don't have any idea of what we look like or any sense of what this is. So I think both are true.
Yeah, but I think if you, here's the thing. I think if you make a human connection, then that's what it's. I was thinking of another person that you had come in who recorded with us a bit and worked out some arrangement stuff in a song. And I thought about how that was so perfect because there was no preconceived, experiences. It was all just, hey, oh, look at this. Okay, what are we going to do today? Oh, okay.
When it comes to this place, that's true. But he did have a sense of who I was because I met him through Facebook, and he would have seen my Facebook profiles, and he would have seen my profile photos on Facebook.
And that's fine. I think that's fine. But I think in terms of doing a public face of the podcast or the organization, I would just hold off on that. I would. Until we have something that we agree, until we have finished things. That's what I would do.
But you're okay with a photo of us at least?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, next time we do this, I'll bring Krista to take the picture. Let's come prepared for photos next time we do this.
Yeah, we certainly have. Well, we got cameras here, we got lights, we got all kinds of stuff.
Even if she just uses her iPhone. It doesn't need to be a pro photo, I don't think. You're a photographer, so
yeah,
you're talking to
that's hard for me to hear. Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean? I think we could. I think we could put a little bit into it. I really.
Sure, I'm not against it. I'm not against that. If you want to put, I was trying to save you effort, is all.
So it's not that much. So there's a podcast entity out there. I might butcher the pronunciation, but it's Namtao, Namtao.
Yeah.
And Tristan Oates is his name. He's got a number of podcasts on the go, and they're all exceptional. They're kind of in the realm of a bit cyberpunk and hope punk, as he calls one of them. historical type stuff, fantasy, and music. He produces techno music. He's based in England, and he did a short run podcast with another fellow who was actually on the. I think he was one of the board members of Ubuntu for a number of years, like 10 years stretch. Yeah, his name was Robin. I forget his last name now, but they just basically did what we're doing right now. They just talked about stuff, and there was 8 episodes, and I found it was incredibly compelling. They were way over an hour each.
Yeah,
nothing really going on. I mean, they were totally geeking out about lamp stacks and and the old days of HTML and what you could accomplish by that, and let's bring that back and. And lamenting about the way things were. I don't know how old he is. He's got an incredibly silky smooth voice. Just a real interesting thing. But the one thing that I notice now with any of the materials that they have, whether it's a website for the podcast, they've got one for each podcast they do. There's a separate website, different look, feel. And I mean, we're talking hundreds of episodes. Like I think he's been doing the one.
He'd be up to his neck in just domains.
Yeah, but like I think that he's been at it since I think 2015 or something like that.
Right.
And I think that this is his. I don't think he's ready to this to be his sole income.
Yeah.
But I think he augments his income from the media that he produces.
Right.
And just really, really interesting stuff. But just the fact that. Like what I got when I started to dig, like who was this guy, right? So I Googled him right away, and there's some pictures of him online. So it's like, oh, okay, that's a good sign, right? Some people you Google that do stuff, and it's like, yeah, no, there's no trace of them online.
Yeah.
And
which might be my problem for the time being, by the way.
Fair enough, mine as well. But I mean, you go and you seek out the. That's the other good thing is that he's extremely promotional in intent. Like every website now has kind of the breakdown of not just that podcast, what it's about, what you can expect, how many times a month it publishes, whatever, but also the link then to the main website, which is the Namtao, and then that explains all of the other things that he's into.
Yeah.
And then with links now to all of the other podcasts. There's at least 3, there might be 5, I can't remember now, and then his music.
See, that's close to one of the things that we want to do with this.
Damn close.
Yeah.
So I can share links with you and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd take a look at that for sure.
Yeah, but the thing is though is that we're talking 1-page websites. We're not talking reams and reams of content.
Yeah.
So 1-page content, it promotes the show. That look is extremely polished. It's minimal.
Yeah, I want to see this.
But it just looks like
and just like thinking of the technical aspects of that, like you could have just one shared hosting service and just multiple domains.
Correct.
You can do that.
Yep.
So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I do want to go back. One of the things we talked about last show.
I'm gonna write that down. I'll send that link to you.
Yeah. Last show you asked a question, the what's in it for me?
Yeah.
Which is one of the potential titles of the first episode. But I think I am going to... Do you want to... I'm segueing just for a second here.
Yeah.
Or going off on a tangent for a minute. That first episode, do you want to call it Just Start Walking or something like that?
I think it was I Just Started Walking.
I Just Started Walking. You think that's better than Musicians on the Titanic?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
I don't... My gut doesn't agree with you, but my mind does.
I'm going to argue with ChatGPT because that was its suggestion.
Yeah.
And I just think that, so part of my background is as a story consultant, and I've done work, quite a bit of work in a variety of different media and coordinated continuity, all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that I found was Musicians on the Deck of the Titanic really does foretell the end. Like it's not only telegraphing; it's saying.
But that is the end.
It's implicity.
I mean, we are going to die.
Well, sure, but I mean, it's like okay, we'll just skip to the end then. You know what I mean? We know it's like why read the novel of 500 pages when you know everybody's going to die?
Okay.
Whereas, I Just Started Walking is like, wow, what a great place to start a journey.
Okay.
I just started walking.
I mean, we have. Just for anybody that ever happens to listen, we have 3 potential titles for the first episode. Musicians on the Titanic is one. That was ChatGPT's pick after reading the transcript of our conversation. I just started walking was the one Dan likes, which is one I think we're going to use. I don't dislike it. It just didn't speak to me on like a visceral level, but it does intellectually make sense to me. And then the third potential title was What's in it for me, which was one of ChatGPT's last suggestions, but the one that I kind of gravitated towards because So I want to talk about the What's in it for me, not as a title, but as a concept because it's a question you asked. This escaped both of us last time, and I think it matters. This isn't a concrete answer to that question, but it is a potential future answer to the question. We were coming at it from the angle of what does this podcast immediately bring for me, right? Like, what's the benefit to me? What if
me as in
you or me?
You? Okay, the two of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or individually, like as a group or individually.
Yep.
What is it? So we might have been potentially asking the wrong question. Like, it's possible that nothing ever directly comes to us of benefit from this podcast other than insisting on keeping doing this is the engine that for a short time will drive us to keep going with this project of trying to host these events, that itself leads to something. So we could end up something that does serve us individually and as the group that we wouldn't have got to if we hadn't have been using this podcast as the engine that drove us there. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Well, I do, but I think there could be multiple, end results and benefits. Multiple.
Yeah.
And one of them happens to be the generation of the content, as we talked.
Right.
Another one could be that it actually becomes something. And another one is that it has value for somebody who wants to listen.
Right.
Like it could be all three of those things.
I mean, and this could just end up being a giant networking exercise that leads to something.
Yeah,
we'll meet people doing this, and they'll see what we do, and who knows what could come of that.
Yeah, I mean, we could speculate until the end of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But in terms of an approach, I think this is casting the net as wide as possibly can be done. Like this isn't. We're not talking fishing with a rod and a reel here. We're talking about throwing as far as we can.
And we don't even know if we're throwing it to the water.
Yeah,
we're fucking tossing it up in the air.
Well, if you want to smash metaphors, okay. let's stick with water for now. We don't know if we're going to be dragging up boots or fish.
Yeah.
Or octopi. I don't know. Like it's like we just don't know. So
or sloths from the trees. That's why I was saying we don't even know if we're throwing it at the water.
Yeah. Okay.
Like it's...
All right. Yeah. If you want to stretch it, sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's an interesting thing, and especially when we've got it from the genesis, from the very first, from episode 0, because it's not like you say, oh, you know what, this is going to become something. We should actually record this. We should make this into a podcast. There's already a feeling of late to the party when you do it that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's Gary Vaynerchuk used to talk about, hey, wouldn't it be amazing if Vera Wang, started recording when she first started taking sewing lessons, right? As opposed to, when she started, becoming famous as a dressmaker. That's right? So that's kind of where we're at now. Like we're really starting something. This is not our first rodeo either. It's not like we're just experimenting. Hey, let's dip our toes into this media. Yeah. It's like, no, we've all done multiple experiments, some successful, some not.
Agreed.
Some profitable, some not. But the bottom line is that we're old rodeo hands, and it's like, yeah, let's see what it looks like if we try it this way.
Yeah.
And we're going to get it right from the beginning. I think that's where the beauty lies.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I'm here. This is kind of a it's tangential to what we're talking about, not directly related. But I've also realized, and I'm shooting myself in the foot here on several fronts. So I am writing my own podcast that you and I are hoping to release next year.
Yes.
I don't want to say too much about that now. I'm sure I'll talk about it more going forward.
Fair enough.
But it's scripted, detailed. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
The writing process alone is probably going to take me a year. And
Yeah.
I'm only a month into it.
Yeah, it's like a book. You're like writing a book.
Yeah. With me going back to work and adding that to my already busy schedule, I'm stretched for time. But it has occurred to me, I can do some of the writing for this and some of my vibe coding work at my job. So that is nice. It's a way to like. I guess what I'm saying is I'm finding ways to do more than one thing at once, which isn't ideal, but I can do it, right? where was I going with this? My mind just fucking dropped on me. Edit this part out if it ends up sucking.
I was going to say we should edit this out because you don't want to be bragging about double dipping. That's for sure.
I don't care. I don't care about that. This is a real life show. If I get fucking fired, whatever. That's fine. Nobody from my fucking work is going to listen to this anyway.
Famous last words.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck, I forget what my point was. I had a larger point.
Well, let's go back to that the amount of work of this other podcast is like immense. It's going to be at least a year. It's like writing a book. And you were, and then you kind of went on that thread about time compression. You can do multiple things at the same time.
It's totally gone. I had a point, but it is totally gone.
All right. Well, wait. It might come back. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's fun.
I think it is interesting. I will say this. This isn't even really related to anything, but it's a technical thing that I think you might be somewhat interested in.
Sorry, I want to take one more stab at it. So let's go back to the point where you said, I just wanted to bring up, I have this other podcast that you and I are working on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't bring it back?
No.
Okay.
No, it had something to do with, it's gone.
That's okay.
I mean, you gotta, this has been a strange week for me. This is, I realized that the last 3 days, there was so much, or the last 4 days even, there was so much new. Yeah. Right? Like, I'm going back to work. We were launching, this whole idea, trying to get that domain down, trying to get Kristen to do the artwork for it, trying to find people to talk to make this happen. So it's a lot of new, and I think my mind is just, dropping things just out of overload.
Sure.
Which is something I'm going to have to learn to manage.
To be expected.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about this even further tangential thing, and hopefully it'll end up triggering me to bring me back to what the point I originally wanted to make was. I did think for a very short time, are you familiar with services like Linode or Shells? They're virtual, they set up virtual Linux boxes, like GUI, full version of GUI Ubuntu or that kind of similar thing that you can access from anywhere with a web browser.
Like virtual machines?
Yes, but it's through the web browser.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right? So it's a way, when I almost got one. It's about $25 a month on average, and you get a virtual machine. It's a desktop version of Ubuntu with 2 processing cores and 4 gigabytes of memory.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So at work, I could log into it on an incognito browser, have full access to my own virtual computer, and I could put 2-factor authentication on the password, and with that paired with the incognito browser, it keeps everybody out of my shit. Right? And that way I could access all the writing for the podcast I'm doing on the cloud, all the network stuff I'm doing with this service through the various social media sites. I could do that on the cloud. I could do my vibe coding work on a real live machine in the cloud. Right? So I was going to do that. But then I realized most of the things I'm using are cloud services anyway, so I could just log into them directly from an incognito browser using 2-factor authentication.
Yeah, there's something kind of quite appealing about containerization. There's no question about that. You know what I mean? Here it is, click, it's there's the entire thing.
Even GitHub now has something called Code Spaces.
Okay.
Which for $4 a month, it's a virtual version of Visual Studio Code that fully works in their contained computer. Access to your full GitHub, access to all the extensions for Visual Studio Code. You can connect your AI service, be it ChatGPT's Codex or Google's Gemini or whatever, right? And then it will launch, if you're building a website, say, it will give you a link so that you can launch the site you're building in another incognito browser on your local machine while keeping it, it's just wild.
Yeah, it is. It's. I mean, that kind of stuff, cloud services, is really mind blowing. Yeah. I'm out of that industry now, and I kind of some days I feel a bit quite curious.
Yeah.
Hey, I wonder if, but
it's going to matter. I mean, basically, what it says is I can do some of the work we're going to end up needing to do for this. I can do at my job.
Yeah.
During the down moments of my job, because I only need short. I can do it 20 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
If I have to, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I can't speak to that.
I mean, it's not interesting. Nobody's going to want to fucking listen to this, but it doesn't matter. We're not making a podcast that is supposed to be interesting to people all the fucking time. This is our process. This is a documentation of our process that is going to drive us to do other shit.
Yeah, no question about that. But I mean, I think ChatGPT had it right on the, hit the nail on the head when it said, it was the friendly friction
Yeah.
of us working out ideas.
Yeah.
That was the show.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, you know what? I mean, again, I just mentioned the Namdao and how interesting I found that. And they're talking about stuff that was like 15 years ago in the IT world that I obviously could understand because that's I worked in that space as well. But I could have that running while I'm doing my dishes or prepping food for dinner or whatever the case was. I mean, it's just it just makes you feel less alone.
Yeah.
But it has to be authentic. It has to be real.
Right.
It can't be fake.
And for that reason, I think this show has potential.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing.
But that potential is no longer the reason I want to do it. The reason I want to do it is I feel like it's an engine that's going to drive us forward to other things.
Well, I think again, if we were to have ChatGPT do a kind of a consolidation, in terms of intention, that might be very helpful or insightful. Because it's kind of a new and novel approach. Not that we're the first to do this, obviously.
Yeah.
I just gave an example of someone else who's doing it and has been for a while. But just all the tools that are available. Hey, why not use these tools that are available to us now in unique and novel ways to us? Like, why don't we play with the toys and see what we can make? I mean, and that's we're just another example. And if it inspires anyone else to do the same, great.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the short-lived podcast Make Stuff Club. Mentioned them, I think, last episode.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
And just how that started off with a premise and then very quickly became something else.
Yeah.
That was equally valuable, but that they had no idea it was going to go in that direction at the beginning.
Can I tell you a story?
Absolutely.
This might be a good way to even end the show.
Okay.
Because this is a true story, and it kind of like demonstrates what I'm hoping we can do some version of with this. A number of years ago, it was 2020. Just before COVID, me and a couple of friends got together, and I talked them into starting a podcast with me, a video podcast, that would focus on events relevant to Western Canada, the prairies. And COVID hit, it slowed our production down, but eventually we did get it rolling in the basement of a church. I rented a space for once a week, and we had 4 cameras set up. That's why I bought the Zoom H6. That was running the microphones, right? And we started recording this thing, and I was looking for guests. I put ads on Kijiji, Facebook, a couple other things, like for anybody that wanted to come talk to a podcast. It was very difficult to get people to talk to. I learned a lot about what not to do, but I got some people. One of the guys, and I found this so interesting, this guy wanted to come talk about this girl that had been abducted or this girl that had died mysteriously in Vancouver years earlier. I'd never heard of her. I think her name, if I remember correctly, was Eliza Lamb. And he was kind of a crazy guy. He made like signs on like bristle board that he would just hold in the street saying like what happened to Eliza. He was kind of out of his mind. But he came in and he talked to us for an hour and a half. It was kind of an interesting episode about this girl that had died, right? And for me, where I was at that point, that was kind of the end product. Let's put this podcast out and move on. But 2 years later, Netflix actually made a documentary that became kind of popular for a little while on this woman, on this Eliza Lamb that died under mysterious circumstances in Vancouver years earlier. So when I think now, I think if that had been you and I, where we are now, that met this guy that wanted to come talk about this girl that went missing in Vancouver, and we talked to him about that on this show, that could have given us the idea to do a podcast on this, to do a dedicated podcast to like what happened to Eliza Lamb. You see what I mean? Like we could have beat Netflix to the punch on putting some sort of podcast out dedicated to like a serial 4 episode. Are you following what I'm saying?
100%. I mean, that's what John Ronson has done extensively throughout his career now. He's another journalist, another podcaster.
Yeah.
And specifically, I don't know if I can name it. There's a podcast that he did that's not really 100% safe for work just because of the subject matter.
Yeah.
Although there's nothing in the podcast that, you wouldn't be able to play for anyone.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, if you're interested, it's John Ronson. But where was I going with this now? yeah, absolutely. I think we're like as we see this whole podcast thing evolve into like another legitimate layer of media. Like it's not just a trend; it's gone way over 10 years now.
I want to go all in on podcasts.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in terms of like the industry itself, right?
Yeah.
Like it kind of had its peak, when the various podcast networks were being sold for hundreds of millions of dollars to Spotify. And we've kind of gotten over that now. Now we're kind of getting into the next level of podcasting. 15 years later, now we're seeing all of this potential.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be huge.
Again, like I think that first mountain that we came over in the last 15 years, I think the next one up is going to be even higher.
So
I really do. And I think we'll enter the era of, and I'm going to put a footnote in that, come back to it, and it had everything to do with Notebook LLM. But if we were to go and do limited episode run podcasts, like say 7 episodes or something, to tell a larger story, documentary style or conversational style.
Which is the podcast I'm working on, by the way. That's what.
Yes, correct. I think there's amazing opportunity for that. Now, whether that gets resold to a Netflix or not or whatever, whatever. We're just making the stuff because we're interested in it. I think there's a real thing there. And by the way, I just wanted to mention quickly that the first time I heard Notebook LLM, which was you could drop a PDF into Notebook LLM, and it would spit out a 2-person podcast discussing the PDF. Yeah, I was done. Yeah, I was done when I heard that. I just went, it's over. It's over. Like, why would we waste, hours and hours and hours putting together this content when you can literally drag and drop and a minute and a half later there's your 20-minute podcast discussing this concept.
But I think that's actually going to serve us for what we're doing, because we're sort of rebelling against the whole AI thing while using it as a tool. Yeah. Like I think people are I think they're already tired of generated content.
Well, I think so.
And so when you cross that they're tired of generated content, when you cross that with everybody's using earbuds now for everything from going to the gym to driving down the street. Yeah. Like you can't watch video when you do those things. Yeah. So I think a good percentage of the population is going to sort that out and start gravitating towards human-made podcasts. Yeah. And what can be human-made than what we're doing? Yes, we're putting out these serial podcasts, and sure, AI was used as a tool for some of it, not written by AI, but a consultant tool, right? And if you have any doubt that this is like authentic content, you can source it back to the conversations that we had on this show that led to its conception in the first fucking place and kind of documented the process of making it.
Yeah, it's almost like your affidavit really is what you looking at it. It's kind of an affidavit, what I mean?
It's a crazy big idea that's going to take its own shape as we go.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's wonderful.
For sure.
So the next episode we do, then we're going to be ready for pictures, and I will have hopefully some sort of progress with my trying to reach out to people through social media. That's my goal. Okay. And then hopefully the first episode will be posted too by the time we...
Looking forward.
Yeah. I figure it's going to take me 2 or 3 weeks to kind of catch up to where we're at. Because like a couple days from now, I'll post that first episode, but then this episode will probably already be in the can. So I'll wait a few days before posting it. Who knows, we might already be making the 3rd by that time. But at some point, we'll catch up. Said it's always we're just working on the current one.
Yeah, for sure.
As the other stuff.
Yeah, and if you're still okay with posting the summary, the assessment, we could post the assessment as the notes.
As the notes.
Yeah. So here's the podcast by these 2 human dudes. Yeah. And here's what ChatGPT says about it. I mean, I just think that makes for interesting...
I just want to make sure that I didn't delete that thread.
Interesting layers of content then, both AI and human-generated, kind of working together.
Yeah. Where would I put it? Fritter Hollow. I think I do still have it. I do still have it. Good. So I'll start keeping all of the... I actually started a new thread for that when I had it review our first episode transcript. So I'll just keep this going in its own project, and I can.
And let's record them. Like let's get a decent system for recording. Yeah. And let's get an audio version of that transcript.
Sure.
Read by ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And
just the assessment, you mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yep.
We'll work on this idea.
Yeah, because I find that the pattern recognition, the observations that it comes up with are really truly insightful.
And it's going to get so much better going forward. Like I'm the biggest problem I'm having with ChatGPT right now, and I just for backstory for anybody else, I do pay for the pro version, and I have been talking to it nonstop about deeply personal stuff for well over a year at this point. So it's got a lot of information on me, but it is dropping things. It's now like it's just too much for it to track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So. But, I mean, as we've seen with tech, like, that moves fast, man.
Yep.
The things that were not possible today will be standard tomorrow.
Yeah, no question. But I'm also a big believer that that stuff disappears. And, if you record that show or download that podcast episode and, keep it on your hard drive, at least you've got it, Whereas if you're relying on the cloud, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Okay, there we are.
Yeah, I guess I was just trying to say that, like, what ChatGPT can remember about you over time, that's just going to increase.
Yeah.
And its ability to juggle X number of facts is just going to go up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, because the more you give it, the more it has to reference and,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, very good.
All right.